Hey everybody out there, my name is Dragnix, and this is my first impressions of Big Action Mega Fight. It describes itself as an homage to classic beat-em-up games like Streets of Rage and Double Dragon, and it combines some retro game references and exploding chickens for some reason, because everyone likes exploding chickens, of course. But will this $5 game be able to make itself at home at Steam, even though it was an iOS and Android game at first? Well, that's what I'm here to find out, and before I begin, I want to make sure you guys know that this key was obtained from the developer for the purposes of review. That won't change my opinion in the end, but you should know that because of FTC guidelines, as well as the whole morals thing, you know? Alright, let's get into some gameplay here. You are Brick Strongarm, and your friend Hawk has been captured by the gangs of this city. Now, good old Brick here doesn't exactly have the greatest amount of conflict resolution options. In fact, he only has one. Beat the crap out of everything that he sees. Now, the basics of the genre are here. You have a light attack that's able to do a little bit of damage and comes out very fast, while you have a strong attack that's able to break through guards and does a lot of damage but is slow. You have the ability to roll and dodge, as well as the ability to throw things like the chickens you saw before. Now, that blue uppercut that you just saw was one of my special attacks. Now, the special attacks in this game are a little bit strange because at the start of each stage, you're randomly assigned one of them. You don't get to choose, and what's a little bit strange about that is that some of them are a lot more powerful than the others. Sure, the Hadouken sort of Firebird attack is nice, but when compared to the Meteor Shower of Chicken Bombs attack, it just sort of doesn't compare, so it's a little bit strange the way they implemented it. Now, in my opinion, this game is designed for a beat-em-up novice as opposed to a veteran of the genre. Part of that is the feature set, because sometimes you'll notice little things like this. You see how he sort of jumped across the screen to be right in front of the character? Well, if you're sort of in the ballpark of punching someone but not exactly lined up, the game helps you out by sort of moving you to that. Now, for a veteran of the game genre in question, I feel like that's a little bit too easy in my opinion, but I can see for a novice how that could help them just to be able to focus on the action in question. Now, overall, I think the game is rather easy. Yes, you do get some upgrades, which I will get to a little bit later on, but a lot of the enemies have basic AI, and it is designed for a mobile platform, in my opinion. Now, this is one of the later levels. I think it's level 27, and honestly, even with all the new enemies and some of the harder enemies in question, I never really run into a situation that I'm really challenged. Again, I am a veteran of the genre, so I know a little bit. I've played the Double Dragons, I've played the Streets of Rage, which are a lot harder than this game. The controls work for either the keyboard or the controller, and you have enough control to deal with the enemies in question. Now, one thing I will say though is this. It shows its mobile roots by the fact of this. The level ended after about 2 minutes or 30 seconds, and that's one of the longer levels. You're given a score based on your multiplier and given a number of coins and a bonus coins based on how well you did. See, if you look at this game from a difficulty standpoint on the health bar, I feel like it doesn't necessarily do well. The fact of the matter is I only really died twice, and both times I really wasn't paying attention, but when the multiplier comes into play, I think that's where the challenge comes. As you kill more enemies in a row and not take damage, that multiplier will go up and up and up to ridiculous levels like 250 in terms of a multiplier, which of course will get you those 3-star runs. I feel like in terms of score chasing, the game does that rather well, and you never feel like the game's necessarily unfair in portions. There are some challenges like being able to isolate a chicken that you don't punch in the middle of battle, but you can always roll and force him to sort of explode based on a time element. Now, those power-up buffs, as you see there, are significant, especially when you upgrade them, as I will mention later on. The invulnerability can last for up to like 10 seconds, it seems, and the power one can take down huge enemies with one punch at times. As you see there, I really took 3 punches in order to kill that guy when he was taking 10 or 20 before. So there is significance to get every power-up and to try to use them to your best advantage. On the flip side, it almost makes the game, again, a little bit easier, which in this case, the game's already easy to begin with. Now, the strongest thing the game has going for it is its aesthetic. The characters' features being overly, exaggerated at times works rather well, and the game has this sort of sense of humor that I like, that the fishing fisheries for fishing the fishy fish. I just like that sort of humor that the game has going for it, but it also does pay respects to the past. You'll notice some posters with, little hints about chicken being found on the ground and it being able to help you in terms of your health. I like that. I like the fact that it knows its roots, but is also not afraid to be its own thing. Now, while the environments are ho-hum at times, I think the best quality of the aesthetic is the character design. Some of these characters look like they have a rich history, and just by their look, have something that I would be interested in. Sort of the Jessie hairdo, yes, Jessie from Pokemon, on that punk that I'm punching right now. The Bebop glasses from, I think it was Bebop, or maybe Rocksteady, but I'm pretty sure it's Bebop on the fat guy there. They were able to take elements of the past and sort of be able to fuse them into something new, at least in my opinion. Now, with that said, even though I like Brick as a character in terms of his design, the second character that shows up in cutscenes that I will put here, I feel like that character I wanted to play more as. I'm not exactly sure why she's not a playable character, considering you went through so much effort to make that model at this point. She hasn't shown up in the game, there's no local co-op, so I'm not exactly sure why she's there. Now, in terms of the game and its sort of repeatability, the game does start to throw a little bit of difference at you. Like for this big guy here, he's in different colored clothes, and he actually has a different set of times on his punches and attacks that are different from the other characters that you've seen before. So I like that change up, and I like the fact that they keep the older ones to make you, sort of think, okay, wait a minute, does he go fast or does he go slow? With that said, there's not a lot of variety here, and you'll be facing the same enemies, these same 5 enemies over and over and over again. Again, this is designed to be on a mobile platform, and it shows with the simple design of a lot of things. And from the PC platform, you expect a little bit more from it. Now, with that said, it is only $5, and what's here is polish. Every move feels, great in terms of animation, and it doesn't necessarily pause or the frame rate drop at any point. Everything is crisp, with few exceptions here and there. Now, with all the coins that you're earning in-game, you're able to buy abilities and attributes for your character. I've maxed out his damage and health at this point. You're able to make the buffs a little bit more effective or last a little bit longer. Those are the power-ups that you're able to see within the game, such as invulnerability, the ability to attract coins, so on and so forth. And the special attacks, as I mentioned before, can be upgraded in terms of their damage or the number of projectiles on screen, depending on the special in question. Now, while I do appreciate that the developers got it running at 60 frames per second on the PC platform, I do have to point out that its mobile roots show in its options menu. Now, the ability to toggle sound on and off and music on and off is great on the mobile platform because you have a volume control on the side of your device in most cases. But in terms of the PC platform, I don't want to have to go outside of the game's context to be able to adjust the volume in question. In addition, at the time we're recording this video, this game does have a problem with dual monitor setups in terms of if you're playing on one and click off the game in question, not alt tab, but actually click off the game will stay, minimized at that point, and you'll be having problems recovering at that point. Alt tab works fine. I feel like it's just something that they didn't test. They have been informed and they are looking at the issue. Now, what's here is polished, as I mentioned before, but I wanted to see more content, more things like this in terms of level design. These leaves in front of the enemies actually adds a little bit of a difficulty curve to the game. Now I can't necessarily see that bomb chicken that's coming for me, and now I get hit by him, but I knew he was there if I was paying attention a little bit more to the environment. That little change up in terms of gameplay went a long way, but it was rare in this game, and I feel like if it was given a little bit more time and a little bit more effort, this game could have definitely had a better longevity. See, when it comes to the casual beat-em-up genre, I feel like Big Action Mega Fight definitely delivers at its price tag of $5. In particular, the game is simple, but it works rather well and it does have that appealing style to it. It's not going to be for the hardcore fans out there. Games like Double Dragon Neon and Phantom Breaker just do a lot more with what they've got to offer and the sort of variety and the challenge that the game offers. I will say that I was really surprised by the sound design in this game. Now, I don't expect a lot from the mobile platform in terms of sound design. A lot of the music and a lot of the sound, you probably are playing it on mute if you're in a public area. But in terms of like throwing a chicken, hearing it explode, everything had an impact. When I turned the sound off, I definitely was missing it, and I was definitely missing it in terms of the action. I did a lot worse. Sound design complements gameplay rather nicely here. In terms of BAMF, or Big Action Mega Fight, there are two audiences that I would recommend this to. The casual beat-em-up fan, and somebody who wants to try to beat-em-up game for the first time, or wants to be introduced to the genre. I feel like the mechanics are rather simple, and it does a good job of introducing the mechanics without making it too complicated. The visuals help, and it makes an atmosphere that's nice to look at, and just sort of enjoyable with its sound design. but for the hardcore beat 'em up fan out there, the difficulty is way too low for me to recommend it. Those who love the Double Dragons of old, those who like the Streets of Rage. And while it does have those references in it, I just don't think you're going to find the challenge here, especially compared to modern beat 'em up games that have a little bit more mechanics to it, like Phantom Breaker or like Double Dragon Neon. Alright, this is Dragnix signing out. I hope you got an idea of what Big Action Mega Fight had to offer. I will leave my Steam review in the description below. If you found this content useful, I would appreciate it if you liked this video as well as that Steam review. It makes it a little more visible for people out there. If you want to see more content like that, hit that subscribe button down there. And if you want a little bit more information or have some questions for me, leave a comment in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer it. Alright, I will see you all later. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button in the middle of the screen. The last video I did will be in the top left, and a related video to this will be in the top right. I do have a Twitter handle at the bottom left, and a Facebook page at the bottom right. And of course, you can always subscribe to the Google Plus portion. Anyway, thanks for watching, and keep on gaming.